Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be installing a dash cam in a 2004 Mercedes S-Class. For this install, I'm going to run power from the passenger side fuse panel, and I'll be tucking the wiring away for a clean look. Let's get to it. To install a dash cam, we're going to need a few things. We need the dash cam itself, its power connector, or if it's a USB powered dash cam, you're going to want a 12 volt adapter, a fuse tap, and a fuse, so probably 5 amp will be good, and then a 12 volt socket. You'll also need a couple tools, so some trim tools, 13mm socket and extension, and wire stripper and crimp tools. So we're going to be installing a dash cam in this S-Class, and to install a dash cam what you need is power, and you preferably want a power source that's switched. So when you turn on the key, it sends power to the dash cam and it starts recording. And then it doesn't drain your battery when you're parked. So on the W220 S-Class, there's a bunch of fuse locations. You've got some in the trunk, some under the hood, some I think on the driver's side, and then there's one panel on the passenger side here. So we're gonna open this up with a trim tool. You're gonna gently pry in here. The thing is, with a car like this, everything is assembled very tightly and nicely, so sometimes it's harder to disassemble. No, it's just big clips. Okay. Wow, that is tight in there. Okay, so you have 3 clips. And then at the back part, it slots in. So you're gonna wanna work from the side here and then pull it out. This is your vent for the rear air. So this connects to the door, which pushes air through to the rear. Okay, now I have a little fuse panel right here, and the one we are interested in, F86 15 amps, is the top one. And that is wired to the cigarette lighter in the front. So the reason I'm not using any of the others is because we've got stuff such as adjustable steering column, that's important. Instrument cluster, we don't want to tap into that. Adjustable mirrors, hazards, Parktronic, rear head release, diagnostic socket, no, automatic temperature control, central control unit, diagnostics instrument cluster, and cigarette lighter. So the cigarette lighter is a good fuse to tap in since I don't usually use it. Technically it shouldn't be an issue to use any of the other fuses, I just don't like to mess with other more important circuits. Okay, so to tap in to a fuse like this, you're going to need a fuse tap like that, and this is essentially you do is you pull out the fuse you're interested in and you put it in the bottom slot right here, and that completes that circuit. And then on the top you can put a equal, or you can put another fuse for the circuit that you're going to power with this. And so this is what we're going to use to power the dash cam. Now what I want to do is find out which side of this is the ground and which side is the powered side. That way I can know which way to plug this in. On these, usually you're going to have your ground side is here, and in fact you would ground your whatever you connect this circuit to a bolt somewhere, which is going to be interesting because I'm going to have to find a bolt to ground to, and then this goes to the powered side. So to find out which side is which, I'm going to need to pull that one fuse out. So I actually have a kit here with a bunch of fuses and that are the same size, and I'll probably use probably use a 5 amp fuse for the top circuit since the camera won't draw more than 2 amps. Now to determine which side is ground, actually yeah, well first you have to take the fuse out. So this is our 15 amp fuse. I'll just pop this in here like that. this is supposed to connect it to the positive side. So with this, it completes the circuit through the top fuse and out here. So this is continuous to this, and so when I touch the crimp connector here, I get current through. So if I plug it in the wrong way and this goes to ground, if I touch this, if I test continuity between this and the chassis, I'll hear the beep. So if I don't, I should get nothing. So nothing. Now what I can do next is check the voltage between this and ground when the car is on, or at least the ignition's on. So get the ignition on. Now I get, okay, yep, 11.6. Ooh, well, that's a little low. I should put this on the tender while I work on it. But yeah, that is plugged in correctly. The powered side of the fuse box is towards the inside of the car, so the wire will come out towards the right. So that my car doesn't die, get a battery tender set up. Got it on the tender now. With this done, what we're going to connect it to is a 12-volt socket. So this red wire is what we have to connect to this crimp terminal. To prep this, I'm going to use my wire strippers. You can use the manual type. It's just fine. And then I got my crimping tools. Put that in. When you use these, just match the color of the connector to the slot in the tool. That's nice and secure. And now we have to find a place to ground this. So what you're probably going to want to do, there are two options, is get a ring terminal on or strip it pretty far back and then wrap it around a bolt and tighten it up. So I got to find a bolt that I can do that to. So the fuse panel is clipped in with the hook here and here. And this means that you can just pull it forward and that will allow it to slide out, and that will give you access to two bolts back here, right there, which are 13 millimeters, which we can use as a ground for the 12-volt socket. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to strip this wire further back, like so, and then I'm going to unscrew slightly the bottom one off my 13 millimeter socket. Now we want to go just enough. In fact, I'm going to strip this back a little further even. So I got a longer length here, and I'm going to slide that back here and under that bolt, and then hold it in place. In fact, you want to make sure you kind of wrap it around this way so that as you turn, it pulls it in. So get that on there. Get this nice and tight. Okay. Now we can pop our fuse box back in place here. What we can do now is test this. So we have our dash cam connector. Let me plug this in. I'll switch this here, and when I turn the ignition on, the camera should come on. And yep, we got power. Let's turn it on. This is what we want. That's perfect. Now we can worry about placing things. Now this camera is already set up because I had it in a different car that I've sold, which I'll do a little video on at some point. And now what we have to do is pick a spot where we want to mount this. So the reason we're going to pick the spot first is we want to run this along the headliner and then down the A-pillar, and then we can tuck all the extra wire in here so that it's out of the way but still accessible when we want to remove this panel for whatever reason, whether it be a new camera, selling the car. I don't know. I really like this car. I don't think I'll sell it. So yeah, next step is going to be to install the camera. Well, I'm glad I was able to figure out the spot all in here, so it's actually a really simple install. One thing I'm going to do before I even go any further is I want to tape this together, because if there's vibration, you know, this is kind of loose, and over time I don't want to just pop out and have to come back in here to reconnect it. So what I'm going to do is grab some handy dandy 3M Super 33 electrical tape. I like it because it's easy to work with, not like cheap electrical tape that gets really sticky. Get a nice wrap. Cut that, give it a little fold so I can grab it more easily if I need to remove it. And then what we're going to do is actually we're going to start tucking this in. And I think that is going to go down here. Since this is all out of a car, I got to put a piece of adhesive on here to attach it to the windshield. For these kind of mounting needs, I like to use 3M VHB. It's really strong, it's really good. I'm going to make a little square on here. So just cut this so it doesn't stick out. Make sure that fits. Yeah, that should be just fine. This is very permanent. Well, it's not permanent. You can use a scraper to remove it, but this is the kind of stuff that manufacturers use to mount emblems, badges, and stuff on cars, so it's sturdy. Now, we're going to want this probably right here next to my Easy Pass, just because you don't want it to be in the way of these, and this is a pretty good spot. I'll line it up here. I think that'll be a good spot, and if I want to double check, I'm going to actually double check with the ignition on. This power's on. Yeah, this is going to be perfect. And what's nice with this unit is that it has GPS built in, so I don't have to run another antenna. It's all in one, so that's good. So I'm going to put it right here. Yep. So one thing that's kind of a pain with VHB is getting the red backing off. There we go. Push that on. That's perfect. Let's see. Oh geez, I forget. Yeah. Okay. And now with that in place, we can actually start tucking the wire behind the headliner. So turn off the ignition, and so what we're going to do is just tuck this up behind the headliner gently. Just push it in so that it stays tucked in. And if you want, you can add a little cable guide on there, but I shouldn't need to. If it gets a little tough, you can use a pry tool, but you don't want to push too hard because this is right by the edge of the windshield. So. And then once you get to the A-pillar, right here, what we want to do is get it into this area. So I'm going to try to tuck it in right back here, and then feed it in here. You can leave a little bit poking out here if it doesn't quite fit, and then you want to get it in there, and then slowly push it in gently. like you're right around the bend. And with that, it'll be super clean. If you have trouble, you can work past the corner onto the front side, and then that might help you get that corner afterwards. And what you can do, you can peel back this right here, which will let you tuck it behind there, and then you can run it down in here, in here, so that once you get down here, you can get it, and keep working and get it to here, and then what you got to do is bring it back behind this and back in there, and then all you have up here is your one wire that runs up to the headliner. Now that we've run our wire into here, we have to deal with how to get the wire in here while still being able to close this, because this panel fits tightly all around here. Well, working this down is not terrible. Just gonna feed this down here. It's like really nicely built, but that's also makes it more difficult to tuck things in. So, you know, I can't complain. There we go, that's in. Tuck that in here. Now, typically, there's no like extra panel to go through here. But in our car, we have to deal with this panel, which tucks in and connects to this piece, but this is on the outside of that part. So let's see, maybe I can zip tie these together. Let's see, let's tuck this in here, that down here, and we're gonna see, will this wire fit without blocking this? It seems it will. Okay, that's good. Now, next thing is right here. I don't want this moving around too much. Actually, it seems like it might not, but if I hear rattling, I'll come back in and try to zip tie it, or maybe put some foam in there or something. I want to make sure this goes in front of the clip, and this goes kind of in the middle here. So slide that in there. There we go. And that is one clean install. That's it. That's our dash cam. If I hear any rattling, I'll get back in here and secure the 12 volt and power connector. But yeah, this is really good. It's all really convenient that, you know, there's the fuse box, there's a ground, and there's a spot for all of it to tuck into, and it doesn't get in the way of the vent or anything. So usually on other cars, I'll do it on the driver's side, and there's a lot more screws, though on the S-Class things are very insulated, so yeah, this is actually very convenient. So that's the install completed. If this video helped you out, leave a like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. And if you want to see more, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.